He's my favorite wrestler because of that. He beat the fuck out of him. Yeah. Where's the real McKill at? Where's he at?
You don't need to worry about him. You need to be worried about Psycho Stu.
Psycho Stu?
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a
Oh, you don't sell it?
Easy. He's not a fucking worker, bro. Calm down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
You're good.
What the fuck was that?
You don't sell it?
Dude, he's not a fucking
Bro.
worker, bro.
What the fuck was that? Hold on. I don't play that shit, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, I will fuck him
we're
up,
good.
bro.
I know you will.
Nah.
We're good.
I will fuck him up.
Good, dude.
Nah, fuck that, dude.
Apologies. Get out of hand sometimes with, working and stuff, pro wrestling stuff. So, let's go ahead.
You know what's
chill.
a good thing about this? Now I can make it something. Because I'm going to have you run in and fuck that motherfucker up in the mat.
You know
You
what
ready
I'm
for that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Talk to the president.
Yeah, if you can do that for me, I'll be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. Hell
I'm going to
yeah.
have him run in on your shit in your match. To fucking seal that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Hey.
So this kick streamer, the son of Rampage Jackson, aka Raja Jackson or Raja Jackson, agrees to a work, against a wrestler. And during that agreement with the work or whatnot, he had the exchange and he felt disrespected after being hit in the head, but that was all a part of the work. Just to agree to come back after he turned that work into a shoot because he felt disrespected, but after he was apologized to, he turned it back into a work and agreed to the work. Just for him to go back off of it and overextend the work into something that was just a crash out. And to me, I try to be surface level, but, I always look into these things deeper. When you look at certain color schemes of black, white, and red, that tells you that this most likely was a ritual. In my eyes, I believe that this was a ritual. And it don't have to be something crazy like mystic or anything like that. Just when it comes to the colors, like the consistency of the colors of black, white, and red, if you notice, is almost everywhere, especially in movies and entertainment. Black, white, and red is everywhere in the entertainment industry. Even the ring is black, white, and red. The colors that Raja, he has on, black, white, and red. Because it represents the aspect of the opposites coming together with the black and white, and the red represents sacrifice. And also, the phases, the 3 stages of the Negretto, and then you go into the Rubetto, and then you have the Albedo, which is the black, the red, and the white, the aspect of where you insert this birth or this life aspect. And then you have the aspect of death, which is the black, and then you have rebirth, which is the white. And this is something that plays out in the entertainment industry a lot. And sometimes, these aspects don't always come into it, but certain aspects that play a part, like just the color schemes of it and what it represents, play into it. Just the aspect of the programming when it comes to how it's associated with, the phases of the Negretto and the Rubetto and the Albedo come into it, just based off of what I believe to be the programming as well when it comes to Mr. Raja Jackson, because this also plays a part into that, just based off of triggers. That could have been a trigger just when it comes to him being hit over the head, so on and so forth. And these are things that's more beyond the surface, but sometimes they play a part. For the most part, they play a part. It's just that, a lot of people don't pick up on it, But it's something that is prevalent. It's something that we should take notice to. The consistency of these colors, black, white, and red, in the entertainment industry, is something that's prevalent, something that's pervasive, and we should take notice to it. We see it in movies. We see it a lot. And I just want to differentiate, because you have the alchemical concept and you have the Masonic concept. The Masonic concept is the life, the death, and the rebirth. And the alchemical concept is, the preparation, the blank state, or the aspect of consciousness awakening into the shadow self. And then you have the rebirth aspect. So they're similar just when it comes to the concept, but, it's still the order that's kind of different. You also have this aspect of initiation, activation, execution. It goes into the aspect of black, white, and red as well. Really white, black, and red, just when it comes to the order of initiation, activation, execution. Because initiation is the blank state, which is the white, it's like the preparedness. And then with the black is the activation, the act of violence. You know what I mean? And then you go into the red, which is the blood, the sacrificial element, the furtherance of the act of violence. Even though there wasn't death, but you know, it was near death. It was a situation that was over the top, representing the chaotic element, representing blood. And he did shed blood. You know, as you can see here, this is just, you know, going into what we saw before, the actual act of violence. And notice, you see the little X, you know, you see how you have this logo here, what it says, I think it says knock something, but you see the X symbolism there with the black, white, and the red. Not KO, or whatever that says. I can't really see, is that an R or K? But the black, white, and red, the motif, you know, we see that it's very, very consistent. Very, very consistent. You see him with the black, white, and the red. This was all purposeful. This was all purposeful. These things, they all have to meet just when it comes to the ritualized aspect. You know, obviously the people there, most of the people there, they don't know that this is a quote unquote ritual, but that's what this is, to my belief. So this right here is the 3 stages for the alchemical process. This is the Negretto, the Albedo, and the Rubedo. This goes into the black, white, and red aspect. This is part of the reason why you see the motif of black, white, and red, as well as the aspect, like I constantly say, of the opposites coming together, and you have the sacrificial element, you know, the blood. In the case of Raja Jackson, you know, it really starts with the white. It starts with the albedo, going into the blank state, going into the purification, the preparedness, you know. But in the aspect of what you see when it comes to the alchemical process, some of these things don't apply, like, you know, the aspect of purification or cleansing. But the awakening of consciousness, that goes into it, because that's the preparedness, that's the blank state. And then you go into the Negretto phase, which is, you know, the restraint, the shadow self, where you're doing something. You know how people say, oh, I blacked out. You know, it's that's what it is. It's like you black out, where you're not you out of your element. And that's the shadow self. That's the initial stage of decomposition or decay or spiritual breakdown, in which we see with Mr. Rampage, or sorry, Raja Jackson, just when it comes to that situation that occurred. And then you go into the final stage, which is the rebirth. You basically go through the backlash, and people come at you and whatnot. And then you're, you know, a quote unquote changed man. You learn from your mistakes and so on and so forth. Or it could be a situation where you go to jail. Sometimes people go to jail and they go through that rebirth phase. Or, you know, after they get out, that's the rebirth phase. In jail, it's the process. You know, it's the process of you going through those, you know, those elements to where you reach the rebirth phase. This is what's going on. This is what's going on with Young Thug. And that's, you know, I'm gonna do a video on that, you know, in the future, coming days and whatnot. Why hasn't Raja Jackson been arrested for brutal assault of Stuart Smith? I believe he wasn't arrested because this was a sanctioned ritual. This was a ritualized act that was gone too far, but it still played into the ritualized aspect. That's just my belief. Some of y'all could call me crazy, but based off of what I understand about this world, the entertainment industry, none of this stuff is far beyond the realm of understanding. Just when it comes to, if you can contextualize it with things that you know about, you know, ancient history and the things that they worship in this society in regards to Babylon. Because everything about this world, you know, it comes from Babylon. Even when it comes to these rituals, even when it comes to the aspect, the alchemical aspect of, you know, life, death, and rebirth, you know, the whole Negretto and Rubedo and Albedo, it's all alchemical, all goes back to Babylon, ancient Egypt, ancient Sumer, so on and so forth. That's just what it is. So I believe, you know, he hasn't been arrested because this was a sanctioned ritual. This was supposed to happen, believe it or not. Pro wrestler Stuart Smith, known to fans on the indie circuit as Psycho Stu, is now awake and communicating after being brutally attacked by a former UFC champ's son, Raja Jackson, during an event in Los Angeles last week. Smith's brother Andrew confirmed in a social media post that the wrestler and former Army veteran has regained consciousness, has some recollection of the incident, and is capable of communicating with family members. It's just crazy. Like, he took it that far. So where a person can't even remember some of the shit, that's just crazy. Doctors reportedly say Smith's recovery will be long as he continues to deal with the severe head trauma and other injuries sustained during the attack. Stewart is resting since he sustained severe injuries to his head. He is currently conscious and able to talk, but will have a difficult recovery ahead. His brother posted to Facebook on August 25th. With all the media and social media attention, it's been hard to get back to everyone. Stuart Smith appreciates all the love and support. He loves wrestling, his wrestling family, and all his fans and supporters. Wrestling has been a huge part of his life, and he lives to put on a performance. He's also just a regular guy with a life and family outside the ring. His wife, Contessa, has currently set up a GoFundMe for those wishing to donate. Man, it's just unfortunate, but at the same time, we look at this on the outset and we can tell, or at least for myself, I can tell that this, you know, there's more than meets the eye when it comes to this, especially when you factor in the red, black, and white. Even though that may be small, that's a big element, especially when it comes to the consistency of it all. It's like you see this a lot. You see it a lot. And you understand what it represents esoterically, and it makes sense why you see it a lot, because in these last days, you know, things are becoming more glaring. So it's like they're more overt with it. It's just that you got to pick up on these patterns. Like, you got to ask yourself, why do these people always show this eye or this eye, whether it be left or right? Why do these people always show these colors, black, white, and red, or yellow, or orange? Those are the main 5 colors that you see in the entertainment industry, just when it comes to what they mean esoterically, as well as green, but really black, white, red, orange, and yellow. You know what I mean? You know, because of that sun element and the aspect of how it goes into these things that represent enlightenment, so on and so forth.